Today, we will talk about 10 most developed countries to live in the world 2023. What do people think when they think about the world's richest countries? And what comes to mind when they think about the world's smallest countries? Many people would probably be surprised to find that many of the planet's wealthiest nations are also among the tiniest. 1. Luxembourg. You can visit Luxembourg for its castles and beautiful countryside, its cultural festivals, or gastronomic specialties. Or you could just set up an offshore account through one of its banks and never set foot in the country again. Doing so would be a pity. Situated at the very heart of Europe, this nation of close to 670,000 has plenty to offer, both to tourists and citizens. Luxembourg uses a large share of its wealth to deliver better housing, healthcare, and education to its people, who by far enjoy the highest standard of living in the Eurozone. 2. Macau SAR. Just a few years ago, many were betting that the Las Vegas of Asia was on its way to becoming the richest nation in the world. It encountered a few bumps along the road. Formerly a colony of the Portuguese Empire, the gaming industry was liberalized in 2001. This special administrative region of the People's Republic of China has seen its wealth growing at an astounding pace. With a population of about 700,000 and more than 40 casinos spread over a territory of about 30 square kilometers, this narrow peninsula just south of Hong Kong became a money-making machine. 3. Ireland. A nation of about 5.3 million inhabitants, the Republic of Ireland was one of the hardest hit by the 2008-9 financial crisis. Following politically difficult reform measures like deep cuts to public sector wages and restructuring its banking industry, the island nation regained its fiscal health, boosted its employment rates, and saw, however, context is important. Ireland is one of the world's largest corporate tax havens, which benefits multinationals far more than it benefits the average Irish person. 4. Singapore. With assets of about $16 billion, the richest person living in Singapore is an American, Eduardo Saverin, the co-founder of Facebook, who in 2011 left the U.S. with 53 million shares of the company and became a permanent resident of the island nation. Like many other fellow millionaires and billionaires, Saverin did not choose it just for its urban attractions or natural gateways. Singapore is an affluent fiscal haven, where capital gains and dividends are tax-free. But how did Singapore manage to attract so many high-net-worth individuals? When the city-state became independent in 1965, one half of its population was illiterate. 5. Qatar. Despite the recent recovery, oil prices have on average declined since the mid-2010s. In 2014, the per capita GDP of a Qatari citizen was over $143,222. 1 year later, it plunged significantly and remained below the $100,000 mark for the next 5 years. However, that figure has gradually grown, increasing by about $10,000 each year. Still, Qatar's oil, gas, and petrochemical reserves are so large and its population so small, just 3 million, that this marvel of ultramodern architecture, luxury shopping malls, and fine cuisine has managed to stay atop the list of the world's richest nations for 20 years. 6. United Arab Emirates. Agriculture, fishing, and trading pearls. These used to be the economic mainstays of this Persian Gulf nation. Then oil was discovered in the 1950s and everything changed. Today, the United Arab Emirates' highly cosmopolitan population enjoys considerable wealth. Traditional Islamic architecture mixes with glitzy shopping centers, and workers come from all over the world lured by tax-free salaries and year-round sunshine. Only about 20% of the people living in the country are actually locally born. The UAE's economy is also becoming increasingly diversified. Outside of the traditionally dominant hydrocarbon sector, tourism, construction, trade, and finance are major industries. 7. Switzerland. White chocolate, the bobsleigh, the Swiss Army knife, the computer mouse, the immersion blender, Velcro, and LSD are just some of the noteworthy inventions brought to the world by Switzerland. This country of about 8.8 million people owes much of its wealth to banking and insurance services, to tourism, and to the export of pharmaceutical products, gems, precious metals, precision instruments, think watches, and machinery, medical apparatuses, and computers. According to the 2023 Global Wealth Report by Credit Suisse, Switzerland once again came out on top when it comes to the mean average wealth per adult at a whopping $685,230. 8. San Marino. Tiny San Marino is the oldest republic in Europe and the fifth smallest country on the map. It may have only 34,000 citizens, but it is among the wealthiest citizenry in the world. It helps that income tax rates are very low at about 1/3 of the EU average. Nonetheless, San Marino is working towards harmonizing its fiscal laws and regulations with those of the European Union, EU, and international standards. 9. United States. Did we say that the wealthiest countries are also the smallest? That is certainly not the case with the United States, which first entered the top 10 list in 2020 after hovering just beyond 10th place for the better part of the past 2 decades. Its surge, at least initially, was largely due to pandemic-related socioeconomic measures, which boosted income and spending, and to falling energy prices, which pushed petroleum-based economies like Qatar, Norway, and the United Arab Emirates down several rankings, while Brunei fell out of the top 10 entirely. Still, the country has since managed to build on momentum and maintain its presence in the highest tier of the list. Not only did the U.S. have its shortest recession on record in early 2020, lasting only 2 months, but its economy is now booming. In April, the IMF upgraded its 2024 projections for U.S. economic growth to 2.7%, plus 0.6% higher than it forecasted just a few months earlier. But the performance of the United States, according to the fund, will be this year a major driver of global growth. 10. Norway. Since the discovery of large offshore reserves in the late 1960s, Norway's economic engine has been fueled by oil. As Western Europe's top petroleum producer, the country has benefited for decades from rising prices. Until it didn't, prices crashed at the beginning of 2020, then the global pandemic ensued, and the krone was sent into freefall. In the second quarter of that year, Norwegian GDP fell by 6.3%, the biggest decline in half a century and possibly since World War II. Does that mean Norwegians became significantly less wealthy than they were before the pandemic? Certainly not. After the initial shock, the economy gradually paired the losses and rebounded. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.